Hello, everybody. So imagine standing where history meets tomorrow. Jewelry isn't just about shiny stone and precious metal. It's about our shared journey of creativity. From the hands of ancient craftsmen and women to the cutting edge of technology, every piece tells a story of how we have grown, where we come from, and where we're heading. This journey isn't just about looking back at the past. It's about how the past guides us into the future. So let's dive into this amazing journey together and connect the dots between where we have been and where we go. So I'm Christophe Nocher. I'm excited to share with you my experience today and my observation of the manufacturing and jewelry production as a whole. So this topic is very close to my heart because initially I was a bench worker. I actually come from a family of gem setters. And I also managed a factory in Asia. I had this amazing opportunity when I was about 20 years old. And after I became an entrepreneur. So I remember vividly the first time my father purchased a laser welding machine. So this machine just stood there for months. Nobody were touching it. And it just started to be used because of a young apprentice. He had no bias or whatsoever, and he had issues with positives. I started to use it, and then later on, other people started to use it. And the same thing happened with the first 3D printer. And the same thing happened with tumbling machine and the ERP system. This was in France, but I noticed this exact same pattern in Asia, in Bangkok. And even manufacturers, like big manufacturers, they wouldn't use CAD design up until 2020 for some. So perhaps that was my first experience with the perpetual duality in our industry. A constant dance, between the old ways and the new possibilities. Tradition and innovation, slow and fast, natural and created, past and future. So I wanted to do a bit of a history today, but I think it's actually easier to start from the end and break the ice right away. So I'm going to tell you what is the next frontier in jewelry manufacturing. Maybe you guessed it already. It's artificial intelligence. Now that this is out, and before I scare everybody, let's enjoy a bit of history and learn from the past and draw our own conclusion. So it all started about 150,000 years ago with the first piece of jewelry. It's a small necklace made out of seashells. And it's the first trace of jewelry. It's powered by a first technology available then, which is opposable thumbs. And maybe a sense of self, respect, love, whatever it was from the artist initially. Maybe it was completely crazy, we don't know. But the good thing is he created a new product, a new category. And luckily, it was not a weapon. So that was good news for us. And it took 146,000 years to see the first gold jewelry product. 146,000, very, very long. And then something big happened. Maybe you can guess it. The first way to mass produce products. And it's perhaps the biggest innovation in the jewelry industry. It was casting. And then, over the course of 4,000 years, we basically discovered and created all the techniques that we still use to this day. Between granulation, filigree, enamel, gem setting, repoussé, pretty much everything we use, it was within this 4,000 years period. And while metalsmiths were becoming artists, brilliant scientists and engineers were becoming masters of the elements. And they invented new way to harness the power provided by the planet. And what happened is we discovered the steam machine, electric motor, combustion engine, and that marked the beginning of a lot of new tools and what we call power tools. So mechanical hand pieces, electroplating. The hands were becoming much more efficient, much more precise, and it would take hours now to do the same work it would take days before that. But progress wouldn't stop here. It was accelerating, but it kept on going. And a new distant innovation, far from craftsmanship and everything we handcraft. And this innovation was electronic. So the rise of electronic that became actually really mainstream when the first computer arrived in '75. And we could imagine what happened then, with some people saying that it would never be of use for jewelry making. After all, it's just handwork. It's not made for computers. Computers will be good only for accounting and the office people. Some people also might have prophesied that computer will completely replace the hands of humans. And in just 10 years after that, a great wave of discovery led to all of our modern tools today. We had laser engraving, 3D printing, the first lab-grown diamonds, CVD lab-grown diamonds. At the time, it was only for industrial use, but it started then. We started to get production orders, invoices, do everything by fax. Working with the other side of the planet became the norm. And then, things started to get weird. After 3D printing boomed, So 3D printing boomed. We can even scan everything now. It's no problem. It's pretty much everything use today electricity with power cord or battery. Mobile phones are everywhere. Internet is everywhere. And if you work for a luxury factory or a luxury house, you probably have seen the arrival of ERP systems, so a system to track production and stocks. It is really hard today to imagine managing such heavy logistic without these softwares. So it's a lot of information. So we'll do a quick recap. And we can categorize 3 main ages. The first one is the longest one. It was the age of techniques, where we developed all the techniques that we still use to this day. And we discovered also all the materials, pretty much. And it was followed by the age of tools, where we just created all the tools that we use to this day. Now it's simply iteration. We make things slightly better, but it's no like great discoveries like this. And now we're still in the age of connectivity. So the age of connectivity is the age of connecting each and everyone and everything to a centralized system and to each other. It's you might have heard, the Internet of Everything, and this is exactly that. So right now, there are 2 accelerating trends amongst luxury houses and factories. The first one is, as per the European Commission decided, it's a new mandatory standard, and it's digital product passport. So it means that, once I mentioned the connectivity is exactly that, is tracking products from production to the end of life cycle, and it will be straight to consumer. It will also help creating new services for consumers. So it's not just about the tracking of production and know where it's manufactured. Actually, this is not so important, but it's actually a matter of services. The second big trend is the tracking of tools and machinery within factories. You might have heard the metaverse, and this is exactly what will be industrial metaverses. They will allow factory to monitor, simulate workflows, discover new ways to work. It will be absolutely critical to major factory development. And we are already seeing such system in place in some factories, especially in construction, in automotive, and it's starting in jewelry. So now we come to AI. So what's going to happen with AI? AI is going to accelerate innovation, and it's going to accelerate time and pace we can barely imagine, the speed. AI will spark a new age, an age where human, assisted with AI, will be able to create, to imagine, to spot patterns, to solve complex problems, to discover new materials, and this will be implemented at both company level and at each individual level. It means that one person using AI can count as multiple people. So if we check the main ages, we add the new one, as the age of holistic creativity. I say holistic creativity because we're going to create at a pace we can't even imagine today. Connectivity and interconnection within factories will play a crucial role for AI integration and performance. The more devices and processes will be tracked and connected, the more value you will get from AI. Billions of electronic chips are going to swarm the industry, and even consumable products like files, sandpaper, whatever, everything will be tracked. It's very easy. You can put an NFC tag, very easy. So maybe you think that this is a bit far-fetched and maybe it seems far from us. But we can make a small exercise. It's very easy. Just close your eyes and take a moment to visualize the first moment you came in contact with something electronic. So maybe this was a black and white screen. Maybe it was an Amstrad for the first gamers, and maybe it was a Game & Watch, maybe a calculator. It doesn't matter. Feel how long ago that feels like. Was it even before the internet or not? Because some generation have not used anything before the internet. Well, no matter how far back you can remember, unless you are retired already, this distant memory is contained in this tiny dot. I'm going to zoom in a little. This tiny thing. This tiny thing on the right is, on the left, sorry, the big one on the left is the entirety of jewelry history, so 150,000 plus years. The tiny dot is the share of time between the first personal computer, so in the 70s, to today, where kids can build a business overnight with AI. Said otherwise, this tiny thing is basically the entire career of someone after 50 years. That's what they have experienced of the whole jewelry production. I wanted to use that because it's, for me, extremely important to have the big picture and see how fast things are accelerating and the potential of what's coming with artificial intelligence. And earlier I mentioned slow and fast. I think this is us. We are in a very slow industry, for the better and for the worse, but we are in an extremely fast environment. So I want to make sure and kind of warn everybody in the industry and urge people that we need to be proactive with this new technology, with these new innovations, in order to remain competitive, of course, but also in order to remain attractive to the public. Tastes, habits, expectations, they are going to change, and maybe in ways we can't even imagine. Imagine life before social media. It was very different. Life before internet was very different. And nowadays, we can barely understand the youngest generation, right? So we must anticipate, we must adapt, we must experiment, and after support our customers' lifestyles. And I don't think machines are going to replace us. Not tomorrow, maybe later, but not tomorrow. And I think it's just going to empower what we can do already. It's going to expand our reach, our creativity. Is going to give a lot of value to our industry. Now, there is another layer that we must add, extremely important. And this is the profound social and environmental pressure that we are facing at a global scale. This is perhaps, along with AI, the most important disruptor to our industry. And it's necessary to keep on innovating, keep on evolving in order to maintain or create new businesses. We can think that in Europe we are doing things well and it's all clean and everything, but in fact I often notice that European companies are lagging behind. And I saw some of the most advanced innovation in this regard in India, for example, or in Thailand. So it's important we open our eyes, we communicate with each other, and we innovate in that regard. So now that I've said all my warnings and call to actions, we will discuss challenges to each specific category of manufacturing businesses. So I identified 3 tiers of manufacturer. The tier 1 is basically the top of the food chain, very big companies. They work B2B with big brand names, or sometimes they have their own brands. They have evolved a lot in the past 10 years. Some grew from several, maybe dozens of people to hundreds or thousands. I've seen this growth in Europe, and I've seen it as well in Asia, so it's kind of global. The second one is the tier 2. It's companies under 100 employees. They are a little bit well equipped. Oftentimes they don't have, for example, 3D printing or casting in-house. And they outsource some niche know-how to other tier 2 manufacturers or even tier 3 manufacturers. The tier 2 manufacturers, they work mostly as our partners for the tier 1. They don't work, or rarely, directly with the brand names. And they are completely B2B as well. And then the last one, tier 3, is artisan level. So it's individuals or like very small companies, 3, 5 people. I saw a neat increase of these people with rather high-tech equipment in Europe and in the US. In Asia, there are not so many tier 3 manufacturers. But in Europe, it's really important part of our ecosystem. I noticed that many of them now use microscopes. They have precision torch, so that's really good. They use graver marks, really good also. And I expect tumbling machines and electropolishing to come in fairly quickly. So that is good. Now, they have, I will start with tier 3. They have main challenges. The main one, and for me it's super, super important for them, is to start buying CVD check machines. So I believe manufacturers of tier 3 are at great risk with CVD. Great risk of scams and lawsuits from both clients bringing products saying that it's natural diamonds, and in fact is not, and then after they come back to the manufacturer and say, hey, you changed my diamond. If they don't have the machine to say, yeah, no, we tested, it was accurate, it's their word against the customer. Same thing happened actually with suppliers. They can buy parcels from trusted suppliers and still have a mix of lab-grown and natural. This is not for Centerstone, it's actually for melee. The risk is quite high, I know for a fact, because in Thailand with my team, we control CVD. We do CVD check for several years, and we routinely find stones behaving like lab-grown. It doesn't mean they are lab-grown, but they behave like it. So it's a potential danger for brands and for companies. I put this machine, actually they have a booth somewhere at the fair, I think even on this floor. So I really urge people to check it out, super important. Plus the prices, they decreased a lot. Now it's accessible, it's easy to use, it's fast. There is no excuse to do. The other great opportunity for them is social media. They need to be on social media. They need to show their work because it's amazing to see people working and to do great things. They're going to build trust. They're going to bring in a lot of traction clients. I've met several businesses making all of their income through TikTok videos and Instagram, especially one in the US. The average purchase was about $10,000. So it's not even like small purchase, it's very high value. So please go into social media. It's still new, there is a lot of place to take, so big opportunity for you over there. Tier 2, they have evolved a lot lately. They are sorry. Tier 2, so they need production capacity. They need to invest in electropolishing, small casting capacity if they don't have it already. It's super important for them to keep on growing and manage quality. And also there is a little bit of room for what we call e-coating nanoceramic. It's a trend that I see, it's growing a little. It's not so easy to find in Europe. We can find it fairly easily in Italy. France, Germany, I don't find it so much, and other countries even less. And Asia, it's another topic, but for example, Thailand, you barely have. India, a little, but quality is viable. The second big thing is compliance. Super important. You might think that because it's in Europe, once again, it's done well, but please have a look at it. Invest a bit of money and time into making the company fully compliant. This way you will be able to attract other tier 1 manufacturers and other brands. And if you cannot comply, unfortunately, soon enough, you won't be able to actually do your job. So it's not great. And lastly is consistency and accountability. Super important to be more accurate, to be able to track what is happening in the company and properly. Many times when we go do quality control, we ask simple questions like, where are these pieces, what's happening, why it's late or whatever. And it takes some time. They need to bounce back to 3 different people, count the job cards in the box. This is not a great way to build up the company and to gather new demands from larger manufacturers and brands. Brands especially, they want things more square, even if themselves sometimes it's difficult to have things square, but they want things square with the manufacturers. And then lastly is the tier 1. Tier 1, the problem is they grew very fast. They had tremendous success in Europe in the past 5 years, especially after COVID. The problem is resources. They need to find people. Very difficult to find qualified and willing people. So, sorry. So using a bit of AI might help over there. The digital product passport, this is coming, is going to be a standard, a regulation. So if you're not able to track things, once again, properly, it's called also COC with RJC. This could be a no-go, simply a no-go with major brands. By major brands right now, What I mean is companies making about 50 million per year as revenue. This is a standard for the European Commission. If you make over 50 million, you need to provide digital product passports to your products. It's true for textile, it's true for jewelry. So it's coming. You might not see it, but it's here. So next, I mentioned AI. Super important. You can use LLMs as a way to assist your already existing stuff. It could be super useful for data processing, for a lot of things actually. You can also use local models. So this will be more useful for the manufacturing side, where you need to keep your data in-house. Don't put it on OpenAI or Anthropic. But with Mistral AI, for example, you can just download the AI and run it on your machines. It's not so heavy, and I think it has great potential. Super important to experiment with it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work yet, but experimenting will be the key. And lastly is robotics. The prices went down a lot. Using cobots is not so difficult anymore. And you can use it for lots of things. I've seen it already in several manufacturers in Italy, in Belgium, in Thailand, in India, using it for logistics, basic logistics. Could be used for QA, it could be used for tray preparation, for a lot of things. This is really important, all of that. And it's really important that the tier 1 manufacturers actually work on innovation, because I believe the innovation will come from them and not from any separate third-party company. Simply because our industry is born to secret. We don't communicate so much with each other. And therefore, it's very unlikely that an engineer will come with the solution that fits everybody. So it might come from within rather than without. And so as we wrap up our story, from old school crafting to the future tech in jewelry making, just remember this. Jewelry is more than just something pretty. It's about emotions, it's about dreams, it's about love, and it's about connecting with both the past and the future. Moving forward, let's think about how we can be part of this story. Let's make sure that every piece of jewelry that we manufacture or that we purchase tells a story of beauty, of innovation, of heritage, and they become a true time capsule. I think this is very important. A true time capsule that we can be proud of for those who come after us. Thank you very much.